Hey, how y'all doing? This is Josh from KeepItTechie, and today I want to do a quick video on a program called Fail2Ban. Okay, so Fail2Ban is an intrusion prevention software framework that protects computer servers from brute force attacks. It's written in Python programming language, and it operates by monitoring log files. For instance, for SSH, it monitors the /log/auth log, which is the authentication log on your computer. And I know that's the location, especially in Ubuntu, on Ubuntu servers. That's the authentication log. It logs every login attempt to your server. And so Fail2Ban will monitor that log file to see fail attempts, and it will associate it with the IP address. And based on how many times the login attempt fails, it will ban that IP address using IP tables or your firewall. Fail2Ban can also monitor other applications that you have set up on your server. For instance, Apache. It can monitor that log as well. It's an access log that's located on your server. It'll monitor that for login attempts and ban based on your configuration file. So it's a good program to help with system security, to prevent people from trying to get in. It's not 100% protection, but working along with other security protocols that you have in place on your system, this will give it a higher chance of success of blocking unwanted access to your server. So with that said, let me go down and spin up the VM and show you guys how to install it as well as how to configure it. Okay, so I have my Ubuntu server up and running. Let me log into it, and I believe I have Fail2Ban already installed, but I'll show you how to install it anyway. Hold on. Okay, great. So first thing you want to do before installing any program is to check for updates. So sudo apt update, press enter, type in password, and it will check the repositories for any changes or any updates. And depending on your internet speed, it'll show you everything. So here we go. We got 3 packages that can be updated. So let's go sudo apt upgrade. Press enter, and it'll go through and update those packages for us. Cool, good to go. We're up to date. So now let's install it. So it's sudo apt install Fail2Ban. Press enter, and it's already installed on my system. It'll ask you, just like we did the updates, it'll ask you ask you, do you really want to install this program? You just type Y and it'll install a program. So I already have it installed. Let's show you the location of the configuration files and everything. So let's go cd /etc and Fail2Ban, and that is our directory for all the configurations for it. So let's just list it so we could see. And the files that we're going to modify, or the one file that we're going to modify, is gel.config file. Now the way this thing works, some programs only use the configuration file, and some programs have it set up where you can create a local file. So your configuration file is not overwritten. If they release like a new version or whatever, you can have all your configuration set up in a local file, which you should be able to see. There's a gel.config or conf, and there's a gel.local. I created the gel.local, and I always use my gel.config as a backup when it comes to certain type of programs like this. And then I create the gel.local file, and it's just a copy of it. And what you want to do is similar to how I talk about when we're messing with other configuration files, you always want to make a backup. Well, we don't have to do that here because the .config file will stay the same. We'll only be messing with the .local file. And the way this program works, I don't think I explained this, but it will default to the, well, not default, but it will look for a .local file first when starting up the service. And if there is a .local file, it will use that. And if there isn't a .local file, it'll default to the .config file. So I just wanted you guys to understand that, the way that works. So first thing you want to do is sudo copy gel.config. We want to make a copy of that basically to gel.local. And I was messing around with the configuration file previously, so I want to wipe out what I changed in it, and we can start from fresh. So now we have overwritten that gel.local file. So let's get in and configure it. So basically go sudo nano gel.local. Want to modify this file. So this is the configuration file for Fail2Ban, as far as setting up the gels. Now there are some examples here at the top, just talking about the ban times, enabling it. That's how you enable SSH, and it's just giving you the examples. Now the defaults up here at the top, you can set a default for all the gels. It's kind of a global definition for it. So you can set the ban time to 600, and that's in seconds. So that's 600, I believe that's 10 minutes. So 600 seconds is 10 minutes. So you can set it to whatever you want, and whatever gel that you open up on the server, they will all use the global settings, so to speak, here at the top. Or you can specify it down below under the gel. You can have different ban times based on the application that you're trying to protect. So I just wanted to show you that. And then the max retries, you could do that for all of them as well, or you can set it down below under the gel. So these are the global configurations, just to show you. Now let's get down to the gel, and this is where we'll specify exactly what we want for SSH, which is the example I want to use. So there is some options in here, and I'm not gonna go too deep into it, but you can set it up where it sends emails to you based on what happens. So if an IP address is banned for whatever reason, it'll send you an email saying that yes, this IP address has been banned, but you have to have a mail server set up, and I don't have a mail server set up for this system. So I just want to show you the basics, and you can go in and check using a command I'll show you at the end. So this is where this is the gel section. So they already have a base setup for SSH. It's not enabled yet, but it's just giving you the basics of it. So SSHD is the program that we're trying to protect. So in order to enable this, we basically have to type in enabled, and like I said, a lot of this information is above in the configuration file. So if you have any questions, you can look in the configuration file and that'll help you set this up. So first thing you want to type is enabled, and then the port is SSH is already set for you. And the way that works is if you have a non-standard port, then you'll have to specify that port by typing in that port. So basically back that out, and let's say it's 2424 is your port that you're using for SSH, then you have to specify that by typing it in that way. Otherwise, if you're using the default port for SSH, which is 22, it automatically knows what it is by just typing SSH. It'll automatically know that's the default port, and it'll monitor that port. So we'll monitor the log file with that port. And then the next thing I do, I normally add a filter. Like I said, this will help out with the log file, just going through the log file by filtering out the authentication in the server, in the authentication file. Now this is where you actually set the log file, and so you just hit type in the path to the actual file and the file name. So var log, and the file name is auth.log, and you want to verify that for all the applications that you're trying to set up for. Like I was saying, with Apache, the location is the log file is in a different location. For instance, it's in var log Apache, and then it's a file in there called access.log. That's the Apache log file. So you just want to make sure that you have the right path to the actual log file that you're trying to protect. So, and the next thing we want to set, because we want a custom max retry, meaning that anytime somebody logs in, it looks in the logs and it looks for how many times it has that IP address has tried to retry logging in. So if it tries to log in twice and you have it set to max retry of 2, then after those 2 login attempts, it will then ban that user. So I like to put it kind of short, so I recommend 2 because it I don't know, it just helps in my situation, because I use keys on my server to log in, to authenticate, and I never have any failed attempts on my end. So if it's a failed attempt past 1 attempt, so that's why I set it to 2, then it's somebody else that's not authorized to be on my server, because it's only me and one other person that use my server or has access to log into my server, and we both have keys. So I'll never have a failed attempt because as long as I have the key. So I put it short to max retry of 2. So that's just my situation. Your situation may be different, but that's what I use. So like I said, you can set it up to where it sends emails. I'm not gonna go through that, but it's pretty easy. You just go into the you just go under here, and then it's an action that you call. You basically go up and call an action from above, where you set your email address and all that stuff, and it'll create an email and send the email directly to your email address. So every time somebody is banned. So this is pretty much it with the configuration for SSH. So I'm going to save this, and the way you save in Nano, and I've showed this before, but it's Control X, and it says save modified buffer. So everything that's in memory right now under this file will get written to it by just typing Y and then press enter, and it'll write to that file, overwriting with your changes. So that's pretty much it on it. Once you set the configuration file, I'm gonna cd out, and then let's clear this so you can see exactly what I'm typing. But you want to restore the service, because it'll automatically store it once you set up the server, or once you install Fail2Ban. So we want to go sudo system ctl restore fail. I'm gonna just tab it out, so fail2ban.service, and press enter. It'll restart the service and you're good to go. And then now once it's restarted, you can start monitoring it, especially if you don't have the email thing set up. You can monitor it yourself, like every couple days. You could just check it just to see what's going on the server. So you can type in a command like well, not a command like, but this is the command that you type in. You type in sudo fail2ban client, and then status. And you also want to check this after you make changes to the configuration file, just to make sure everything took. And then you can type in the specific service that you're monitoring. Like I could do SSHD, and it'll automatically just pull up SSHD. It'll filter on that, and it shows that the log file up here, the filter, current failed, total failed, and the authentication log is the file that it's monitoring, and then the actions, and that'll show you what happens after somebody fails on your server. So just give me 1 second. I'm going to log into my production server, or my main server that I actually use, that's connected to the internet, to show you some real-time bans, and that this program actually works pretty good. So just give me 1 second. Okay, so I'm back. I just didn't want to show my my login process, so we're back. I'm gonna run that same command, and this is on my server that I actually use on a day-to-day basis, and just show you that I have it set up as well, and I'll show you how I monitor it. So status, press enter. All right, so this is some real numbers right here. So currently fail 2, total fail 1481, and that's just based on my log file, just showing the total failed attempts. And see, somebody is brute forcing my server, actually using like proxy chains or something, and it's blocking them. You know what I'm saying? And the one thing about it, this is just extra protection, really, because I have user login in SSH turned off, so you can't log in with a username password at all. So these guys are really wasting their time because it's no login for, you can't log in using a username. But whatever, people are gonna bang on it, but this is a good way to just stop people from running a brute force consistently on your server without being blocked. This will slow them down, so they would constantly have to keep changing their IPs and proxy chaining and all that type of stuff to keep my server, because it'll keep banning it. And I also had this thing set up to ban, like, it'll only ban for like a day or so. So in my head, if I was hacking, I would look at it like if I would be trying to see how long the ban time is set on the server. So I'm not gonna waste my time waiting a day to see if IP address is unbanned from this server, to try to find out like when the ban time is set. That's just too much to look into, especially when you don't know what's on this server, or you don't even know what type of server you're trying to get into. I mean, you know, based on maps and all that stuff, but I don't know, I wouldn't waste my time too much, especially if it's not like a prime target or something that you know you can get information off of. So that's why I chose to set it for like 24 hours or so, which I think that's good enough. Some people set it for like an hour, some people set it for 30 minutes, you know. It really doesn't matter. I mean, in my opinion, because you can actually go into the configuration file and set it to indefinitely ban IP addresses. But you'll have eventually you have 1,000 IP addresses in there, because I mean, people are gonna keep proxy chaining, and eventually it'll slow down, eat up memory and all that stuff, because every single time that it bans an IP address, it's added to your IP tables, and so that's another IP address that's under your firewall. So just show you another thing so you can see, once a IP address is banned, you just this command sudo IP tables -L and -L. Make sure you type it in that way. Press enter, and this will show you your IP tables and what's currently banned. Well, the IP addresses that are banned and the information on them. But if you got 1,000 of these damn things banned on your server, it'll take forever. Because at one point I did have it set up for indefinite, and it took a long time to actually run this command right here to see what IP addresses are being banned. And to me, it was a waste of time, because they continuously just kept getting IP addresses. But this slows down the process, so they can't just keep hitting with different username and passwords on your server. And the point is to get them to just give up on your server, which probably will never happen, because some people have those brute forces running, you know, using scripts and botnets and proxy chain and all that stuff. So they don't care about it. They'll just let it run forever. But I mean, this will slow down the whole process, and hopefully keep your server protected. So that's all I got for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm gonna keep pushing out new videos with new content, especially dealing with Linux, trying to get everybody into Linux, and show people that are in Linux some cool tools that are out there for them to use to help them be safe on the internet, and as well as learn how your system actually works. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and of course, keep it techie.